And welcome to the Seshpal Oberoi Media. This video is about what it was like directing Pick Me. So, to give you a brief background about what Pick Me was all about, Pick Me is a comedy based on what it is like to interview for a job in Dubai, and how different people of different backgrounds, behave in job interviews in Dubai. Uh, Now, before anybody, talks about how politically incorrect it is and what it is all about, I want to just say one thing: chill out. It's a comedy, and it's just a play. It's theatrical. Okay, so it's not real life, and people in real life are much more composed and much more, you know, much more professional than that. But in some cases, these these things apply, and these things which happen in the play probably apply, and you'll always find some characters in theatrical form even during interviews sometimes, not all the time but sometimes. Okay, so this play is a locally written script, by the way, and obviously credit to the my friend Doug who wrote it, and he's done a great job writing this 10-minute play. Now, moving on to the experience of directing the play. Now, this play, uh, the the direction, the whole point of this play was that it was performed in a festival called Short+Sweet Theatre Dubai 2019, and the auditions for everybody for this festival happened in October 2018, and obviously I had to pick cast for for the play, as well as look at different actors just in case I need them for other plays or maybe for different projects and all of that stuff. But the first step was going to the auditions and looking at different actors and looking at different people who would be interested in being a part of the play, as well as just you know as well as right fits for the play in general, and not just people who will. And also there are other criteria for choosing people who want to be a part of the play. The first thing is that whether they are committed, whether they'll be on time for the schedule, for the rehearsals, all of that stuff. You kind of get to know which who would be and who would not be. Sometimes looking at how they approach auditions, all that. I mean, that's really an underrated part of being a casting director, that you get to view a person. You get to person can be like during rehearsals and during the time when the play is on. Uh, Also, like these auditions took place for about 2 days in October, and you know there are about 50 to 70 people, or 50 people or something. I think 50 to 60 people, and so I started contacting people about who wanted to be a part of the play and all that stuff, and people who was interested in casting. And mind you, casting is a difficult process because you need to find out people who are committed, people who have the right attitude, people who have the right skills, and people who can be taught new skills and all that stuff. It's like recruitment. It's basically recruitment for for your own projects. So that is all it's about. And the first few weeks were very, I would say, erratic and a little bit difficult because obviously formation of the cast, the team, and formation of you know just the whole procedure of forming a team was very, very difficult in the beginning, and gradually things started getting better, and we started doing things by late December. Of course, there were things happening behind the scenes, like there was shuffling of cast members, there was all of that, you know match schedules not matching, all those things were there behind the scenes, finding a place to rehearse. All that stuff was there. But by December, by late December, we formed a team, and we started to get rehearsals done. So the whole point was that we needed to get a team which is committed and a team with you. I need to get a team. In fact, I say that the word "we" because the writer is also heavily involved in this festival, so it's a big task. And so this is one thing, right? So Another thing was organizing rehearsals. Organizing rehearsals is another thing, because you have to match people's schedule and find a time where everyone's comfortable rehearsing. Now there's some time, because there's some times there where some people won't show up, or some people will not will turn up, and turn up a couple of a few minutes late and all of that stuff. But if people are talented, or if people are good at what they do, they you gotta work around it sometimes, because they also have demands, and you need to go out of your way to really accommodate them. You've got to find the right balance between accommodating people and shuffling them out again. Of course, there are deadlines to submit squads and submit teams, basically, of your for your play, because if anyone leaves at the last minute, it's very bad. It's not good. So I think we've had about I don't know, 15 to 20 rehearsals, and each time we started rehearsing, we did rehearsals. The team kept growing. At first, the team was we were in this we were in the initial stages, and we were like getting to know each other and all that stuff. Building up a team, the chemistry within the team, the camaraderie within the team, all that stuff. And as the rehearsals kept progressing, everything started getting better. And you know we started practicing scenes. We started doing improv scenes to get them into the characters. Everybody was It was good, and it was a good experience, and getting people to be on the same wavelength looks easy on paper, but we it you need to really put in the effort to make sure you're on the same wavelength and all that stuff. And of course, another challenging part of this whole process was that staying calm when your cast getting shuffled. It's very easy to get angry when people are not willing to commit, and when people are not willing to do things that you really want them to do, or and all of that. And you've got to make sure that there's meaning in what they are doing. It's really, really important. uh, so moving on, it was a very good rehearsal for at least 3 or 4 weeks. So we started rehearsing in January, like really, really properly. And before that, I was experimenting around, and because when Jan came, there was not much of a time of time for experimentation in general. But it taught me some really valuable lessons. In fact, so it taught me the understanding of planning ahead of time, and what it is like to really, really organize a team. Uh, Being a director in theater, it seems like you have all the control, but it's different from being a director in film. Because theater is an actor's medium, and in theater you get one chance to show your skills off to an audience. And in film, it's different, because you get a chance to cut out the bad parts, and really in the good parts and all that stuff. And even rescheduling is easier to do when you're you know making a film, and you can make a film at your own time and your own pace. Of course, they're good. It's good to have deadlines, but still, there's that leeway when you're making a film. And some shots are much more beautiful than others. Some are, some you can still edit them out, and all that stuff is there. When you're making a film. But in theater, the true test is really theater, and it's a one-time thing. You get to perform in front of an audience. You When you're on stage, you are like, there are nerves, there are people watching you, there are people paying attention to their phones, there are distractions, all that stuff is there. And it's very different from a rehearsal spot. So it is very, very challenging to coach a team. um, Let me just give you a brief background as well. I also acted in the play, and being an actor as well as a director was a very different and challenging experience, because obviously I was one of the characters, and I had to lead the team as well, and along with the writer, of course, through his input, and through making sure that the actors were on board and on in the same wavelength, basically. Um, being a director, you have got to give actors freedom, and also being an actor, you've got to exercise that freedom as well as a creative personality. You know, uh, it is extremely difficult, and people from the outside looking in think that, oh, you've just got to smile in front of the camera, or you've got just got to smile in front of an audience, and or just got to overact, and just got to shows a show off what you're doing in a play, and like a certain action, like, hey, I'm laughing, and people start laughing very hard, like, ha 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 ha, what? but but that's not the case. Sometimes people say, oh, I'm happy, and people like laugh or they smile or whatever, but real life is not really like that, and it is more of an inner thing, and you've got to have an inner monologue, you've got to have inner thoughts, you've got to think about what your character is thinking, you've got to think about how your character behaves, how your character would be in this existing world, so that's the whole challenge of being an actor in general. you know um, that's enough of me rambling. Thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it.